that show up?
It impacts everything, apparently. Decisions on who plays, what plays get called. Everything is measured against this high standard of responsibility. Think about it for you listening. It means every single person knows exactly what's expected of them and knows they'll be held to it. No excuse.
That clarity must be powerful. Creates a really strong culture, I imagine.
Absolutely. And it links right back to that fighting attitude, doesn't it? Everyone's accountable for bringing that fight. Quitting just isn't acceptable.
Man, you can see how that builds. Okay, so strong leadership, clear direction. How did that translate into the actual game results? Preseason results, obviously, but still.
They gave that a B+. So
B+ stars makes sense with the undefeated record.
yeah, the 201 record is the headline, but the article digs into how they got those results. It talks about a comeback kid mentality. You know, the backups, the subs, they fought back from being down 17 points to win one game. They secured a tie in another that could have easily been a loss.
So it wasn't just smooth sailing. They showed some grit.
Exactly. It reflects that refusal to just accept a loss, even a meaningless preseason one. It shows the cultures may be starting to take hold, even down the depth chart.
That resilience from the depth guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good sign heading into the season. It shows buy-in.
For sure. So you add all these pieces up.
And you get the overall grade, which was A overall. Pretty darn good for a first preseason.
Very good. But, you know, the article is careful to add context. It says the team is far from ready for opening night against Minnesota. Still needs sharpening these next couple of weeks.
Right. It's not declaring them world beaters just yet.
No, exactly. But the success, the reason for the A seems to be that Johnson has given the team clear purpose. The direction is obvious. So for you, the listener, it's less about perfect execution right now and more about laying that strong foundation. He's established the why and the how. The what still needs work, but the blueprint is clear.
Okay, let's pull this all together then. We've got this picture of Johnson, intense, shows his temper sometimes, definitely a gambler, huge on accountability, clearly a strong leader, but there are still these execution hiccups, especially mentioned with the quarterbacks. So what does all that mean when the real games kick off? How does that mix play out under pressure?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Yeah. What's really interesting, I think, is this potential trade-off the article implies. You know, the execution wasn't always perfect. We saw that with the B for QB development, those issues cropping up again. But Johnson's focus seems to be so heavily on instilling that fighting spirit, that accountability, that really clear direction. Maybe that's the priority right now for a young team.
Building the engine before polishing the paint job?
Kind of, yeah. It makes you wonder, and maybe for you listening too, in that sheer force of personality, that culture building, can it actually overcome some of those early execution problems? Or maybe does it provide the framework, the resilience to fix those problems faster once the season starts? It suggests maybe the intangibles are what really matter for the long haul, even if it looks a bit messy sometimes early on.
That's a really fascinating way to frame it. Look, this has been a great deep dive into Ben Johnson's first preseason. Definitely sounds like he's a leader, making a real impact, installing that never quit attitude.
He is. We love Coach Johnson. He's great. He's wonderful. Thank you so much. What's this?
Years and not a couple of years, last like half decade to a decade. Scope creep is a real thing in game development, and like I think it's a communication when teams get so massive. Like you look at a company like Ubisoft, which has so many sites and so many development studios that because projects get so big, and then they have to. Everybody's communicating, everybody's helping. Credits take 3 hours to watch because you need to credit everybody, which I'm glad they do.
Sure.
But also, I don't need to see every reflection in the water, like in puddles as I walk.
Well,
like I don't need that.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that they're talking about here. So getting back to this article, Lewis Packwood writes, having spent the past 4 days dashing between appointments with CEOs and developers, there is one sentiment that remained consistent among almost everyone I spoke to. We need to make games quicker. So that's good. One option is to make games that look worse.
And that's
what we're talking about.
I'm okay with games looking worse. And I'm not saying to where like you're just like, you know, diagonal polygon sticking out of character. Like I'm not talking
like original Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
Yeah, exactly. We're not looking for jank. We're just looking for more artistic expression that requires less like pixels or less
graphics, more art direction.
Yes, exactly.
It blows my mind that we get, for whatever reason, the Star Wars games we get, the AAA ones, they have to look like movies. but the cartoons, like Clone Wars and stuff, it's okay for them to look like Fortnite.
Yeah.
But like nobody's been like, let's make a video game that looks like Clone Wars, and it's like that probably would take less time than it takes to like render like Cal Kestis's mustache or whatever. Like it's just, it kind of blows my mind. Borderlands comes to mind, where like that game probably, I mean, it definitely benefited from having the sort of cell shaded art direction, and probably like again it carved out its own aesthetic. But had they tried to make that thing look and run like Fallout 3 when it came out, like I don't know if it would have been as much of a success as it was.
Yeah. Even when you look at games from like God of War Ragnarok is 3 years old, but when you look at them, like games don't need to look any better than this.
Yes.
Right? Like that's fine. You don't need to be like trying to improve on God of War Ragnarok.
I agree. I think we need to get to the point where games like hit a specific level of visual quality, a great art direction, length, and then like give me those shorter experiences. Give me those 20, 30-hour games and like pump out two or three of those over the course of 3-4 years for like a 20, 30 hour game, something smaller, something more compact. Give me little tiny spin-off things of like, hey, this was a really cool idea. I really like this. Give me another little thing that's like $20.
Yeah.
Like that takes you a year and a half, 2 years to develop. Like that. Keep the lights on.
Like I appreciate the trying to like push the medium forward.
Yeah.
But I just don't think every game needs to do that.
I agree.
Right? Like make more games, get them out faster, and then every 5 years have the one game that's like carrying the torch forward. Especially with younger gamers who I think grew up on Roblox and Minecraft. I don't think they're looking for the most.
And Fortnite.
Yeah, exactly.
Developers, they know this. They're competing against Fortnite anytime they drop a game. Regardless of what game you're dropping, you're competing against Fortnite. This free-to-play has a massive, massive install base that is getting, monthly, seasonal, updates with different characters and themes and crossovers. Like, they're pulling in all the audiences into Fortnite. You're competing with it no matter what. So you've got to have a way to draw that attention and make them, make gamers want to play your game over playing a free thing with their friends.
Okay, well, hopefully they do start making games quicker. Talk about some of the games that are here at Gamescom. Here in Hall 7, we've got THQ Nordic with Gothic Remake and Reanimal, and Konami's back here, and I think Xbox is in here too in this hall. Anyway, the big games of the show, we hosted the Gamescom Awards here the other day, and Resident Evil Requiem swept the awards, so that's a big game here. Did you guys get to see that?
Yeah, got to go play it yesterday,
give
actually.
Give us some thoughts on Requiem.
If you are a huge fan, based on the demo, purely based on the demo,
I don't know if I like where this is going.
If you're a huge fan of Alien Isolation, you're going to really like this game.
Okay.
The demo is just this portion of that you're seeing on screen here, and you're just kind of wandering around looking for different items to open up like a fuse box and replace a fuse, and to get out of this building. And our new friend, I forget our friend's name. Do you remember our friend's name?
Grace Ashcroft?
Not who we're playing as. Our friend that shows up in the demo.
Stalker?
That jump scare got me in the demo, too.
Jump scare, yeah.
I don't think they've announced her name.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we don't have the name yet.
Language. Gosh.
Yeah. I think that if you like Alien Isolation, you're gonna like this demo. I think this demo is gonna make its way. I think it's gonna be public at some point because I feel like
Do you
Japanese
think this is
devs
like
have
the kitchen demo that it's not actually part of the game?
No, I think this is part of the game, or at least a modified version of it. But I don't think it's like a separate thing entirely. I think this is a little chunk. But as far as the demo goes, like it felt extremely corridored because it literally is just some corridors. Like it's kind of like a Y-shaped map, and you're running back and forth trying to turn on a light. I think it's really cool. Like technically absolutely stunning, really cool use of HDR where light is a big deal. The monster's scared of the light, so you're trying to turn the lights on so you can kind of stay safely, whatever. But it's kind of like point A to point B to point B to point C. And I hope the rest of the game isn't like that. I hope it opens up more. And I'm sure it's obviously not going to be just this hallway. It's not PT. But yeah, I mean, I feel like after 4, which again it goes kind of hard on the action. I'm hoping that this is more like 7, which 7 starts off extremely kind of claustrophobic, small scale, grounded Texas Chainsaw Horror, and it gets more bombastic as it goes on. But yeah, I mean, 8 was so 8 had a really good ramp up. I felt like And this feels like it's almost kind of like scaled back. Like it feels more grounded. But I don't know if I want it to be so grounded. You know, like I kind of want get a little bit bigger. You know, so I have to wait and see how it goes. But yeah,
I love 7 and 8. I don't know. It seems like enthusiasm is a little bit muted for this one. Is that fair?
Right now,
maybe is it just like not doing enough sort of like new? It just feels a little bit more run of the mill. What is it?
it feels like I'm playing. It felt like I was playing. It didn't feel like I was playing Resident Evil while I was playing it. Was the kind of the thing for me. It felt like I was playing like an Outlast game,
Okay.
which also great horror games. I enjoy those, but like when I play Resident Evil, I want my Resident Evil vibe, not Outlast. I think also I hope her movement isn't as like hobbled as she is in this demo. Her run speed does not feel good when you're running away from the monster. And I get it, she's terrified. She's not in a good situation when you start the demo, so I'm hoping that's just part of it, but I wasn't vibing with her like stumbling and trying like having a hard time running. Especially after all the other protagonists we've gotten in Resident Evil.
Yeah. They do an interesting thing though, where if you're playing in first person, your movement is, as you would expect, it's scarier because you can't see all around you.
Yeah.
And they kind of they counterbalance that by when you're in third person, if you try running, you'll trip.
Yeah.
So like, and that won't happen in first person. You're not running great either way, but in third person, you're just like slip and just it's nerve wracking.
Yes.
And it's. Yeah, gorgeous demo, but to Jada's point, it wasn't quite giving me that Resident Evil thing, you know?
Well, we'll see. We don't have to wait too long. That one's out in February. We're just about out of time. There have been a lot of games at the show. Lego Batman made a big impression. I'm excited for that. Hollow Knight, we finally got the Silk Song release date. Well, both of you, what would you say is sort of your game of the show? Could be anything here, Jada.
Honestly, I've gotten really hyped again on Borderlands 4.
Yeah.
So that's I got to play that, and so that's probably one of my game of the show. And then Sonic Racing Crossworlds is around the corner, and I love Sonic Racing games. So it's toss up between those two. With also a small shout out to Phantom Blade Zero. Sorry, I know we're out of time, but I played a lot of games this week, guys.
That's good.
High on Life 2.
Yeah.
Really endeared itself to me. Crimson Desert is also
that was
stunning.
also really good.
I feel like I still don't have a full sense of like if I'm gonna actually like the game or not, but I'm definitely curious to check it out. You know,
I put up, I think it went live today or yesterday, but 30 minutes of gameplay for Crimson Desert, and so go check it out. See me electrocuting a bunch of people, throwing people into walls. Good time.
You check out Onimusha too?
I did. Onimusha feels really good.
Good.
Yes, feels really good.
Well, that just about wraps up our special Gamescom episode of Next Gen Console Watch, as well as our live coverage of Gamescom for 2025. Thank you to the hundreds of thousands of you who tuned in all week long, as well as everyone right here on the Gamescom show floor. If you missed any of our coverage this week, be sure to check out IGN.com, IGN's YouTube, and IGN's social media channels.
Reminder that up next for Gamescom is Gamescom Asia, taking place in Thailand October 16th through 19th. The tickets are on sale right now. Plus, Gamescom LATAM will return to Brazil in 2026. And of course, this Gamescom will be back here in Cologne, Germany next August. Gamescom truly is an incredible worldwide spectacle.
But for now, thank you for joining us. And from everyone here at IGN, on camera and behind the scenes, it's been an honor bringing you Gamescom once again this year. And we'll see you again in 2026.
Yeah.
Being a part of their everyday lives and needing so much. Now I say that music needs so much more context, right? Because you have to evoke emotion, and it's almost like you have to expose yourself. Before the internet, right? You didn't have to give so much of yourself for people to connect with you. And so it is important to a degree that artists are out there doing the work in a different kind of way. I would say we would be able to manufacture artists a little bit more back then. Than the thought process for me is still the same. Like I still want to break legacy acts, right? And that hasn't changed. How we
using 8-bit sound, it's very generic. we have piano sound.
Do it has changed. The thought
It's quite beautiful, not perfect, but I actually like it.
I want party Christmas Twizzlers.
This is actually beautiful.
Well, they taking it too far.
According to the Washington Post, the Pentagon has been planning a military deployment to Chicago for weeks. The Post also reporting that plans could involve several options, including sending at least a few thousand members of the National Guard to Chicago as soon as next month. The Washington Post also reporting that there have been talks about using thousands of active duty troops in Chicago, but reports that plan is less likely to happen. Threats to deploy the National Guard to Chicago could come to fruition, according to the Washington Post, with possible plans to deploy as soon as September. This is all in According to the Washington Post, the Pentagon has been planning a military deployment to Chicago for weeks. The Post also reporting that plans could involve several options, including sending at least a few thousand members of the National Guard to Chicago as soon as next month. The Washington Post also reporting that there have been talks about using thousands of active duty troops in Chicago, but reports that plan is less likely to happen. Threats to deploy the National Guard to Chicago could come to fruition, according to the Washington Post, with
But he said threats, though. I'm inclined to believe that people in Chicago want this. A lot like DC. When the news frames it, mainstream media frames it, makes it seem like, the president is setting it up so that he's taking over and implementing military structures to just take, I don't know, some sort of military coup of some sort. But no, the National Guard is not even doing anything. They're really stationed at specific posts, and they just kind of posting up. They'll lock you up if you do something crazy, but I mean, they really still leaving it up to where the National Guard, at least in DC, what they're doing, and I would imagine what they're trying to do in Chicago, is going to the bases, military installations, other posts, and they're there so that they are able to appreciate the like or to subscribe. But yeah, in order and what they're doing is basically holding those spots down. Now, while they're holding these spots down, that's freeing up. Sorry, I got Twitters. But that's freeing up the actual city of Chicago's police department to go do other stuff. And if they run into something that's super crazy, then you got at least some big boys behind you, right? But they cleaned up DC, or they've been doing great. And from what I've heard, the DC residents have been just fine with that. So, and as a Chicagoan, a native Chicagoan, shall I say, I think it's great. I think my city needs that more than anything else. LA too. But, these are also democratically run cities, which is fine. But because of that, they have policies. And, of course, they're making it a little bit more difficult for the federal government to do anything. And I think it's crazy, to be honest. You would want your city to be safer. You'd want it to be cleaner. But
plans to deploy as soon as September. This is all in support of what President Trump says is a crackdown on crime. National Guard troops have already been deployed in Washington, D.C., and this comes after Trump Friday alluded to Chicago being the next target. Despite these calls, Chicago police data shows violent crime is down in comparison to this time last year. Mayor Brandon Johnson had this to say at a block party earlier today.
One shooting, one homicide is one too many.
I guarantee you those numbers are down. Like I said, for the past year. So, in a year's time, right? And it's dropped. I think since the president's been in office, looks about right. They didn't pull up them 23 to 24 numbers, though, or at least the last couple of numbers. And they still going rampant now. I think about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Chicago just went crazy. You know what I mean? I know that one. I don't know her name because I'm not really into the drill. I don't really listen to drill. But the girl from Chicago just died. Like, it's crazy. Like, at her album release party at that. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Seeing you hear the verbiage that they're using, saying threats, and like, come on, bro. Threats.
To say at a block party earlier today.
One shooting, one homicide is one too many. And that's why this block club today is so powerful, because it's a reminder of how much work we have to do. Look at all of these young people and these families that are here today. This is who Chicago really is. What's being painted by the federal government is false. We love one another. We support one another. We put our arms around one another. We invest in one another because we know that we are our best keepers of one another.
Governor J.B. Pritzker saying in a statement tonight, in part, quote, Donald Trump is attempting to manufacture a crisis, politicize Americans who serve in uniform, and continue abusing his power to distract from the pain he is causing working families. And Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton referencing the Washington Post directly tonight, saying President Trump is trying to, quote, create chaos. Both Stratton and Pritzker say the state has not received any requests or outreach from the federal government.
Create chaos? Has Chicago not been chaotic for decades? Oh, what are we talking about here, bro? And this dude is super tight mouth. Who cut his face like that? Who cut his face like that? Why y'all let his face do that? He looks stupid. Look, I don't agree with everything the president does. I'm not even sure if he's a great person, but he's been doing a great job as a president. I'm sorry. I have to give him that. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the comments. Help us. We live in Chicago. Well, say help us. I live in Chicago. The mayor has security. It is out of order here. He's black. Make the so-called leaders walk the streets at night without security. Yeah, exactly. So when are they going to Memphis or St. Louis? Right. Thank you. Pointing the fingers at someone else instead of where the problem lies, themselves. Yeah, they're not fooling nobody. Even the mainstream media and what they've been having, the words and verbiage that they've used, to try to make it seem like, it's an attack on, or like the president is sending troops in to destroy people. No, he's not doing that. They sending them big boys in there to clean them streets up. Because it's been crazy. And we niggas know it. You white people know it. Y'all see it. Y'all been talking bad and crazy about us this whole time. We know it. We know we got niggas. Black folks know we got niggas out here going crazy. We're aware, okay? The difference is, us black folk, especially, I can't even just say that. I think those who are a little bit more of a different mindset as a black person in America, or maybe not even just a black person in America, I think you have a way that you're just not with this, you ain't caught off guard, or you're not having the wool over your eyes, for lack of, I didn't say that right at all. But at least you don't have the wool over your eyes. And you can see this. And if you're on the streets, if you're in this for real, then you get it. Like, this is crazy. Hopefully this makes all the boomers crying about it from Daytona Beach feel safe. Just because you stop arresting and incarcerating does not mean the crime has gone down. It means you're not reporting it to make your failed policies look like they work. Remember those numbers that they tried to make seem? It only been like that for the past year, I'm sure. Since Trump, obviously. Man, it's just crazy, bro. Yeah. Look at this. Enough distract. He's on the list. All right. I mean, is everybody else gonna get locked up at this point? Cause who gonna do something? Jeffrey Epstein dead. Niggas ain't gonna tell us. We all think we know who own them shits, but obviously they still running rampant. Ghislaine Maxwell probably about to get out of jail. It doesn't matter. Okay. We tried to get information. What does matter though? Cleaning up these streets. I'll tell you that. And keeping that border secure. I know that much. And people getting opportunities to make money. I think people are making money right now. If you are not in the stock market some way, shape, or form, you should. I heard Bitcoin is bumping. Like I heard, y'all don't need to know. Y'all don't need to know. I got mine in a little cash app. You know what I'm saying? I got a little cash app. But I actually got stocks though, like through my company and through my own individual trade. So it's just like, yo, it'd be stupid not to be on that wave. But anyway, you let me know what you think about that in the bottom, in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button. I just think it's crazy. I think, the media is just doing us a real disservice by still lying to us. And we know. People know what's up. And for the longest, we've been calling for this shit to get cleaned up. And so it seems like, and it's like I said, it's not like the military is coming in and just knocking niggas' doors down and stuff like that. They really just putting their presence in the city. Sometimes, they just got to be in the room. Just to be like, okay, they in the room. You need to tighten up. And, anyway. So hopefully this really helps. I hope this really helps out, man. Because, I love my city. And I hate that people feel like it's too dangerous, It's the third largest city in the country for a reason. fact, that's just crazy. Oh, whoa. What? What?
Take a look at this, one of the world's most active volcanoes putting on quite a show again. The U.S. Geological Survey says that Hawaii's Mount Kilauea erupted again Friday afternoon through yesterday morning. It's the volcano's 31st eruption since last December. This one was contained within the summit's crater. And that's your morning rush.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's a whole 53-minute video. Okay. Look at Shay. What up, Shay?
There's so many black women that say they want thugs, they want the gangster type, they feel protected. I've seen men give them STDs and they're still banging on his door like, I love you. I'm like, who's really the fool here, you know?
But are thugs the only ones that are giving out STDs? Is that what we're saying? And I have to, majority. Oh, you're talking to a public health background right now. Let me tell you.
Okay.
I prefer to date outside my race. Step forward if you.
Realistically.
And I'll say this personally. I wouldn't necessarily prefer to. I just happen to. Okay.
I would definitely want to marry a black man. I know that we've experienced a lot of trauma in our community, and I think that trauma stems back from our colonizers, which have put us against each other, and it makes it difficult for us to come together and be healthy in a relationship. That makes sense.
For me personally, growing up mixed, just because I did grow up more so with my mom on the white side of my family, just when it came to dating experiences with black men, if anything, they would always tell me, oh, you're really white, or just really racial comments about how I'm mixed that makes me uncomfortable. Like, at the end of the day, I'm black.